Today we're talking about a baby that's 10 months old and not able to crawl on their hands and knees. As a matter of fact, baby hates being on their hands and knees because baby is not able to tuck those knees under their hips. Baby is able to bear their weight on their hands, but not able to tuck their weight under their hips. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through what that I like to look for, the three things that I like to look for when it comes to crawling on hands and knees. And then we're going to go through a couple of simple exercises and activities that you can do with your little one to help your baby be able to crawl on their hands and knees a little bit better. So let's start off by talking about the three things that I like to look for when it comes to crawling on hands and knees. I call this the Baby Master PT crawling triangle. Now, if you look at the base of the triangle, you'll see I want baby to have core, trunk strength, and stability. On the left-hand side, I need baby to be able to bear their body weight through their arms on their hands and knees, and then baby needs to be able to tuck their knees under their hips and bear their weight on their hands and knees. Once you have these three working together, then baby is able to actually be in the position on their hands and knees to be able to actually attempt to start crawling. So the first exercise you want to do is teach your baby how to rock on their hands and knees, or just bear their weight on their hands and knees. You can see I have baby on his hands and knees. I tucked his hips under his I tucked his knees under his hips, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to have him simply bear his body weight on his hands and knees, and I just want him to get comfortable in that position. I just want him to start being able to stay in this position, bear his weight without crying, without fussing, and so he is rocking himself. At this point, I'm really not trying to force him to rock on his hands and knees. I just want him to stay there without fussing. This lets your baby's brain start to realize this is the position that we're trying to head into. This is the new position that we want to go into. This is how it's done. Sometimes you have to manually put baby into that position. Oh dear. The next activity to do with your little one is to have your baby on hands and knees and manually go through the process. You can see I have baby on his hands and knees. I have a toy, and what I'm going to do is position him, cue him to be able to approach the toy, get close to the toy, and then reach for the toy with one hand while he's bearing his body weight on his other arm. This is very important for crawling because baby needs to be able to shift their body weight from one arm to the next, from one knee to the next as baby is moving forward crawling. So you can see I have him on his hands and knees. I have him bearing his weight. I'm giving him a little bit of support under his tummy, and I'm cueing him to shift his weight. And then what we do on one side of the body, we want to shift to the other side and cue baby to do the same thing on the opposite side of his body. And so I have him reaching and batting at the toy, playing with the toy on the other side. You can see his body kind of collapse there a little bit as he's now still getting used to being in this position, being on his hands and knees, and working through the process of shifting his weight from one side to the next as he's getting used to being on his hands and knees. So those are a couple of quick activities that you can do with your little one to help your baby start the process of shifting their weight and just being able to tuck those knees under their hips. You notice I'm actually keeping my hands. Some babies their knees tend to drift apart as they're practicing this activity. And so you want to make sure you are shifting from one side to the next, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Some babies actually need you to physically do this for them and pin that knee under his hips as he's focused on his upper extremities and on shifting his body weight. And eventually the legs will come together and he will figure out what he needs to do in order to actually stay up on his hands and knees and just continue to move as he's moving around on his hands and knees. So those are two quick exercises and activities that you can do with your little one. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below and let me know, and I can make a live specifically for you. All right, I'll talk